Guess which radio I'm gonna show you today. Hi and welcome to another video by Vimo. Today I'm gonna show you the new ICOM 7760 HF transceiver. Here it is and what you can do with it. So here it is, the IC7760. Oh, no controls, no display. What's going on? The new thing is that the controller is external. I'm gonna show you. So here we are. That's the control unit. It's rather wide, but not very deep, and contains everything we need. 2 loudspeakers, all controls display. And the good thing is it is connected to the main transceiver, to the RF deck as ICOM calls it, just by a standard Ethernet cable. ICOM 7760, the main features, probably everybody knows them. 200 watts power out, key down. I have 2 independent receivers, totally the same identical type of receiver, no differences. Both are direct sampling software-defined radios, so typical best approach to the handling of HF signals. We have antenna tuner built in. This time, the first time with switching relays instead of a variable capacitor. I have to look at my notes a little bit. The transceiver supports all HF bands from 160 meters to 6 meters. It does not support 60 meters out of the box, and it does not support 4 meters. Why or why not? This is quite complicated. It has legal implications, and I can understand that ICOM avoids the complications in providing these bands out of the box. So, okay, we have to open it up. Well, that's how it is. We have 4 switchable, 4 selectable antenna connectors, plus 1 antenna connector for receive antenna. The transceiver does support a transverter output or transverter connection, so I can use this radio as a operating unit for my VHF, UHF transverters. Digital pre-distortion is a very important function which leads to a much cleaner output signal by measuring the distortions and correcting them in the stages where the signal is generated. The digital preselector, Digicel as it is called by ICOM, has been improved. In previous models you could not use the preselector in conjunction with the preamplifier. Now you can. They have rearranged the components, or they rearranged on the fly the components when you switch them around. And so you can use both functions, leading to a much better resilience against very strong out-of-band signals. And that avoids the dreaded overflow which you can get on other radios. Very simple local area network setup. For the standalone configuration, I just have to connect the supplied cable with the control head and the transceiver, and that's it. No configuration, just connect and go. Even when I tried to use this in my local area network, in my home network, it worked out of the box. They immediately found each other and talked to each other and worked without any problems. What is not known is if it's possible to use this connection via an external network, via the internet, for example with a VPN. We will give it a try. It's not mentioned by ICOM in any documentation, so it's not known whether this will work, but this will be an interesting thing to try out. So let's look at some features in detail. If you take a close look at the ICOM 7760, you will find, if you know ICOM radios, that there is not much surprise. They are configured more or less the same or look the same. Of course, we have more space for operating controls. You will find much more buttons than on smaller radios like the ICOM 7300. About the same with the ICOM 7610 or 7700. So that's about the same. The first very distinct feature is this second display. As you can see, you can have the S-meter on this display if you want. This is convenient when you have configured the main screen like in a completely different manner, like this, for example. Yeah, I have the Kia, the CW Kia. I have two small waterfall mini scope, as it's called, and then the S meter shrinks to a very small bar graph, and I can have the full S meter here on this display as well. But this has also other functions. I can go to this display type. This is the waterfall for the audio channel. So if let's go to another band. Let's hope I can find a signal. So you have the audio signal here in this display. And this is also a touch display, so you can touch it and can switch filters. You can also click on this button to switch the filter, but I find it quite convenient to have a second function. You can engage the manual notch. You can set the filter curve and many other things. So we have seen the S meter, we have seen the audio band pass, and the third function is the band stacking or the band switches. I can quickly switch around. I think this is quite convenient. It's a good idea with the sub display. I think the most used function will be this. So that's a very distinct new feature. As mentioned in the introduction, the transceiver has two fully independent receivers. Both are of the same type of direct sampling, and I can switch between both by just tapping on it and activating it. I can activate dual watch, and then I will get two audio streams. The radio has two speakers built in, and now I get on the left speaker the signal from the left VFO, and the right speaker plays this audio. If I have both on and I want to switch one off, I can simply touch it and then it's muted, and I hear only one signal. What I find very convenient is the filter setting on this display. The twin passband tuning function is well known by ICOM. This is nothing new, but the visual representation is excellent, I think. I see immediately what I'm doing, and this is a very, very convenient feature to have this always on this display. The audio peak filter has also been improved. It's an excellent function to really work the signal and extract the signal much better. And even when you go further and engage the noise reduction, this is really improvement. And this is simply progress. This is simply better DSP functions, better software. This is where you can see progress. This is getting better every time. I really love this function. Another function which is very, very effectful is the notch. This is now the manual notch in CW. If I push it a long time, I get this function, the sub menu, and I can move around the notch just as I please, and I can immediately see the effect here on this display. That's very nicely done. The waterfall display can be configured in multiple ways. Now I have selected the main operating band as the only display, and I can switch with the main sub signal button between these two bands I have set up, or I can have both at the same time. In the setup menu, I can decide if I want to have these two waterfalls vertically arranged or side by side. I can expand them. The orange frame around one box tells to which band these functions go. For example, I can set the reference level, the brightness or the sensitivity level per band. And if I go to this one, now this same function works on this band. So this can be set separately. So a new function which I have not seen before on this or on any other radio like this is a kind of diversity reception. Some user on the internet mentioned this, and many thanks for that. I might have missed this. In the function menu you have a setting called tracking. And when I turn this on, it aligns the two VFOs, and I have now both VFOs reacting to the VFO knob, so they are tracking each other. And the interesting thing, currently I have on both VFOs I have the same antenna. Now if I select this one and select a different antenna, and I actually have different antennas connected to 1 and 2, I can have a diversity reception. So I can have other parameters on this side than on that side. As you can see, I have the manual notch engaged on this receiver, but not on that. So I can try to optimize the reception on each antenna separately and can see which might provide the better signal. What you cannot hear, because I'm using a mono microphone for recording, is the stereo effect, because the audio is separate on the two speakers, and this actually gives a spatial impression, which is quite interesting. But it is different, a very different signal, because this is a very different antenna. This is an active antenna which has much more noise level than this one. This is a simple vertical antenna. But it's perfect for comparing antennas. Yeah, so you have the option to watch the same signal on two receivers, on two different antennas, and yeah, compare immediately. This is very, very convenient, I think.
With the wife, and then at the end of the day, you know, I made got them an 850 radio, came with 850. Well, they bought that with a lot.
So this is now on 20 meters with two different antennas still tracking. So the diversity function. I'm trying to find some beacon. This was Victor Kilo, Australia. Very good to hear on this antenna, but not on that. So this was Israel, better on this than on that antenna. A very convenient function to compare antennas. Madeira, the Azore Islands, maybe a little bit better on that one, hard to tell. Of course, I can record the signal and then compare later on, but okay, that's how it is. So that's a very interesting function, and I love to play around with this a little bit more. Tracking is still on, and this is a function which really gives some nice new features. Here, for example, I have set up the display a little bit different. On this VFO, I'm listening on, or I'm displaying the spectrum on this waterfall with a bandwidth of 5 kHz. And on this VFO, on the same frequency, I'm displaying the waterfall over the entire 20-meter band. And now I can tune on the lower band. I can, on the lower display, I can see where I'm tuning in the 20-meter band, where any activity is. And I see the details. And I see the details in the upper detailed screen much more at better resolution. This is a very nice feature. The actual effect of the diversity is not very noticeable in the video, but it is very good, especially if you use headphones. Then you really have a spatial impression of the signal received, and it's very helpful. Very nice new function.
Lima Alpha 2 Papa Charlie Echo America 5 /LA 2PT calling CQDX and by for call over. Italy, Juliet Foxtrot and Company calling and listening. Work 3 Alpha, Monaco. I'm just really surprised, you know, Monaco sits in France.
As it is to be expected with a complex radio like this, the menu is quite rich in functions. Most of this is known. Most of this is just what we know from other radios. What is new is the antenna setup. I can select all the antenna functions. I can select which antenna goes to which band, or which band requires which antenna, and I can switch it on and off here. I have, in the moment, I've activated only 2 antennas for reasons of simplicity. You can select that antenna 3 and 4 is also active, but you can turn them off as well. So this is a very convenient function. Everything of this is also memorized, and so I just need to make that setup only once. The setup menu is quite complex. As you can see, it offers many functions. I will not go into each detailed area and show it, because it would be way too much. But one new thing is this one. This is a digital pre-distortion adjustment. So you can influence how this works, but it warns you if you really want to do this. And I do not want to customize this. I'm happy with the setup like it was done in the factory. Many other functions I can use. One thing is new here. I can use a USB flash drive. It's not only that I can use the SD card, this is the SD card slot, but I can also use a standard USB stick to save my memories or recordings or screenshots or whatever I want to have. So let's have a look at the rear of the control unit. This is the connector for the Ethernet cable to the RF deck, standard Ethernet RJ45. This is a display connector. I can connect an external display DVI-D. This is USB. I can connect a keyboard, a mouse even. I can connect the USB stick, as I mentioned, and also the RC28 remote control unit, this second VFO knob if I want to have it. An external keypad for memory keys, the Morse key here, a PTT output for an external amplifier or other functions, line in and out for audio functions if you need that, external speakers, separate for both bands if you want, and the DC input. Somebody asked on the internet what the power take-up is. I did not measure it. The supplied power supply is 15 volts, 3 ampere, and I don't know if it's really required. I think it's oversized. My guess it's 1 to 2 amps maximum. And the rear view of the main unit, 4 antenna connectors. As you can select, here you have 4 BNC connectors, the transverter, the RX antenna, it's looped through, so I can put a loop on here if I want to. That's very convenient. And a reference input, 10 megahertz reference input if you have GPSDO source in your shack. This is the tuner connection, the same as ever. So if you use an AH740 or an older AH4 antenna tuner, this connects to this jack right like all the time. But two sockets for RJ45 connectors. This is the controller, and this is the additional LAN interface if you want to go into the network. If you want, this is separate. This is the venerable CI5 connection, the remote connection, the ICOM protocol TTL level key, connectors for an external amplifier of any brand, and the accessory sockets 1 and 2 as they are used on most bigger ICOM radios. This is an USB 3 connector, as you can see, and this provides IQ data. This is an output which you can use, for example, with an ICOM driver, which is already available with the HD SDR software. So this is ready to run for N1MM and other programs like CW Skimmer, and this can use this data directly in a very fast and efficient mode. Now we have played around with the radio a little bit, and I've shown some features, and well, what's my summary? I like it a lot, very, very much. I like ICOM a lot. My desk is nearly full with ICOM radios, and I really have to consider if this fits in my setup. I don't know. Okay, it also fits in my budget, I have to see. Of course, this is a high-end radio. If I just would be looking for something for local QSO, for rack chewing, probably this is a little bit oversized, but okay, why not? This is a radio intended for the avid DXer, for somebody who has multiple antennas, who is a contester maybe, who loves to operate remote and automate his station. So this is definitely a high-end radio. I love the feature set. I love the concept of the operating style. It's well done. What I would love to see is better or more remote capabilities. Of course, you can use the RSBA2 software to operate remote with the transceiver from any point in the world with your PC. But I would love to see this console capable of contacting my radio at home via the internet. This would be terrific. This would be a killer feature. There are other manufacturers out there who have proven that this is possible, so why not ICOM? Other things to improve, well, okay, there are some minor scratches, but I think this will improve over time. This is a first series radio. I hope you got a good impression of the radio. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We are there for you. We wish you a pleasant day. Many thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye-bye.